This is Jilliana Ranicar-Breese, and I'm here in Rhodes at the Marco Polo Mansion with Sally Nearns, who is an artist. That's her card. And she specialises in beautiful flowers. Now, Sally, tell me how you got to Rhodes.
Well, my father worked for the Voice of America.
Oh,
yes,
really?
and
Was he a broadcaster?
no, well, he was a DJ when he was younger in the States, but actually with the Voice of America, he had studied what's it called? Radio engineering. Yes. So he worked in the plant, and they had two here in Rhodes, and in '79 he was stationed here. So.
And you were a little girl.
Yeah, I was 9 and 10, the 2 years we lived here. We lived in a beautiful house built by the Italians in the 40s, all marble, and it was just so beautiful. And life was probably the best
Is the house
childhood
still
memories.
here?
Yes, it is, but it's abandoned and all run down. Yeah. So our whole family fell in love with Rhodes those 2 years we spent here. After that, we moved to the Philippines and a few other countries, but we always came back here. Almost every year, we would spend the whole summer here with my mother.
Don't blame you.
Yeah.
And you went to international schools, of course, all over the world. But you said your father was with the American Embassy.
Yes. Well, Voice of America is part of the
I
American Embassy.
I
So
see.
he had diplomatic status. Yeah.
Okay.
So every couple years, he would be stationed somewhere new.
Uh-huh.
The schools we went to were amazing, really, really good education, British boarding schools and stuff like that.
Have you kept in touch with any of the people?
Yes, I have. A lot of people, especially since Facebook, you know.
Do you ever have reunions?
Yes, actually I have with a few close friends.
No, I meant to the organized reunions.
No, I don't.
Sometimes there are, aren't there?
I did go to one a few years ago, but I keep in touch mostly one-on-one, you know, with friends.
Yeah.
So,
you lived in America. No, Argentina. Which came first?
well, no, when I was 17, my father died of cancer. And then I immediately I went to college in Florida. So did my two brothers and my sister. So, and then when I graduated college, I was married to a Dutchman for 5 years. We lived in Miami, in Coconut Grove.
Oh, yes.
And I started painting there.
What started you painting?
Well, I had always drawn. I'd done portraits. I liked pen and ink. You very detailed lines and stippling. When I was in college, I took an elective class called acrylic painting. Well, I fell in love with it in that class, although my professor told me that I probably shouldn't pursue it. I didn't take his advice because I loved it.
You followed your instincts.
Yeah, I didn't care. And so for a while I just painted, by myself and didn't show anybody what I was doing. But eventually people saw, and I started selling here and there.
And what were you painting?
I was painting flowers, but
What kind of flowers?
I started with poppies because they reminded me of those 2 years that I lived here in Rhodes. Here in the spring, you can find huge poppy fields. Just
near Rhodes town, or
near
in the
Rhodes town. A little bit going towards the airport, Yalisos. But yeah, you'd have to go a little bit outside. Of course, you see poppies everywhere. They pop up,
They pop up.
They pop up. But I remember the fields of red wild poppies, and it just. It also, was sort of for my father, because he had passed away. And I started painting poppies, and I love also tulips and sunflowers. But poppies for me, there's something special about them because they're so delicate, they look like they're dancing, you know, but they're strong, you know. If you touch them, the petal might, but they're just beautiful. To think that they grow wild like that. So.
Are they always red?
Oh, no, 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 no.
No?
And you can find all kinds of different colored poppies. And in fact, when I paint them, I've painted blue poppies. You know, I paint whatever colors I want. That's part of the happiness I have with painting them, you know. You can do whatever you want. So, yeah.
So throughout the time that you were in Miami, you were painting, but not always.
Well, no.
Why was that?
I painted. It wasn't really, you know, you can't. It's very hard to make a living as an artist. So I had to try and work. You know, after I had studied English literature in college, so I got some jobs doing translations because I also speak Spanish fluently, and teaching ESL, English as a second language.
That's right. Me
I
too.
worked as a
Yes.
copywriter for an ad agency, stuff like that. But when I was 26 years old, I was diagnosed manic depressive, and so it was really
Bipolar, of course.
bipolar.
It's called that today, but wasn't then.
Right, and of course, you know, back then, no one even knew what it was, but it wasn't fashionable back then like it is now. So it was really difficult for me to work.
What were your symptoms, apart from depression?
Well, yes, apart from being suicidal.
Oh my God.
And
you were on pills?
Well,
antidepressants,
I
I
was.
suppose, yes.
Although they didn't work, you know, it was, I have probably tried every medication there is. And sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't, would take a while. But the biggest problem was the mania. And I just kind of went crazy. My personality changed. I started dressing differently, listening to different music.
What do you mean, you went punk?
Not punk, more rock. I was really aggressive. It wasn't me. I started smoking and drinking a lot.
Smoking cigarettes
Yes.
or smoking pot?
Cigarettes.
Okay.
And drinking a lot and going out and being promiscuous. And I was married. Partying, yeah. And of course, you know,
your husband didn't like
my
that?
husband did not like it.
Understandable.
So yes.
So the marriage broke down.
Yes, we separated, and I came here to Rhodes because
You ran here.
Yes,
You ran
this
away.
has always been where I feel best.
That's interesting because when my marriage broke down, I ran away to Chania in Crete.
Ah, you see, yeah.
I forgot to tell you that.
It was sort of like that for me, and I stayed here for a year. It was the first time I was really.
Did you know people in Rhodes?
I knew a couple of people, a couple of Greeks from when I had lived here, and a friend of mine actually introduced me to a school of scuba divers called the Water Hoppers, and I worked for them that whole summer in '98. And then unfortunately, I had to leave again. I went back to Miami. I always wanted to come back here, but you know, money was an issue. I needed to work somehow, and I really couldn't be on my own back then. I was too sick. So
you went to stay with your sister?
Yes, my sister has always helped me a lot, and
in Bariloche.
In Bariloche, Argentina. Yes, in the Patagonia.
Wow, that's where the Welsh are.
Yeah. And so she has a horse ranch down there, and she had a little cabin that she gave me to live in.
Cabin in the sky.
It was a very peaceful place, and
no Wi-Fi.
Well, eventually we got Wi-Fi, but it wasn't easy. Sometimes it was no telephone. So, anyway, I stayed in Bariloche for quite a few years, and that was before I came here.
Well, we'll continue that in part 2. Thank you very much, Sally.
Thank you.